Hello everyone. Welcome to BYK Book Summary. I am Amin. Here we decode the inspiring journey, mental warfare, and empire building life lesson of the world's greatest legend. Today topics and their biggest secret are right on your screen. Let's dive in with my AI co-host.
Today, we are diving into a book that Charlie Munger himself called a masterpiece. It's The Outsiders by William Thorndike, and it turns the whole idea of what makes a great CEO completely on its head. It argues that the one job that truly defines a legendary leader is the one most of us don't even think about. So let's get right into it.
So let me just ask you right off the bat, when you think about a CEO, what do you think their number one most important job actually is? Is it, being that grand visionary, the chess master who's always thinking 5 moves ahead of the competition? Or is it maybe about being that charismatic leader, the one who can get on stage and inspire thousands of employees to follow them? How about just the bottom line, growing revenue, pushing for more and more growth? I mean, these are all pretty common answers, right? But according to this book, they all miss the single most critical skill.
The real answer, the one thing that has created more long-term wealth for shareholders than literally anything else, is capital allocation. Now, I know it doesn't sound nearly as exciting as, say, launching a new product, but believe me, its impact is absolutely astronomical.
So what on earth is it? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's just deciding what to do with the profits a company makes. And here's the kicker. The book argues that most CEOs are surprisingly terrible at it. Why? Because the skills that get you promoted to CEO, like being a great operator or a great manager, are completely different from the skills you need to be a great investor. You see, a CEO basically has 5 options for every dollar of profit that comes in. 1, they can hand it back to shareholders as a dividend. 2, they can use it to buy back the company's own stock. 3, they can reinvest it in the business, R&D, new projects. 4, they can go out and buy another company. Or 5, they can just pay down debt. That's it. That's the entire menu. The real genius is knowing which one of those 5 options to pick, and just as importantly, when to pick it. Okay, let's make this real. Let's look at the ultimate case study from the book. A guy named Henry Singleton, the founder of a company called Teledyne. Singleton was the quintessential outsider. He was a CEO who consistently and very deliberately ignored what everyone else was doing. I mean, the difference between Singleton and the rest of the world couldn't have been more stark. Back in his day, Wall Street was yelling from the rooftops, "Pay dividends, grow at all costs." And what did Singleton do? The exact opposite. He never, ever paid a dividend. Instead, he took all that cash and aggressively bought back his own company's stock, especially when he thought it was trading for cheap. And you know what? People thought he was crazy for it.
And when I say aggressive, I am not kidding. Over his time as CEO, Singleton bought back a mind-boggling 90% of Teledyne's outstanding shares. Just think about that for a second. He essentially used the company's own profits to take it private, one piece at a time. An absolutely radical move. But the real question is, did it work?
Oh, you better believe it worked. Just look at this. Between 1963 and 1990, if you'd invested in the S&P 500, your money would have grown 15 times over. That's pretty good. But if you'd invested that same money with Singleton at Teledyne, it would have grown 180 times over. This one chart says it all. His quiet, analytical, totally contrarian approach didn't just beat the market, it absolutely demolished it. Now, Singleton wasn't just some one-off genius. He was actually part of a very distinct pattern, a way of thinking shared by a small club of elite CEOs. And the most famous member of that club, of course, is Warren Buffett. Thorndike points to Buffett as another perfect example of an outsider CEO who built an empire not through charisma, but through brilliant capital allocation. And Buffett's logic is really the core of the whole outsider idea. We all know Berkshire Hathaway has famously never paid a dividend. And why is that? It's because of this simple, powerful idea. Buffett says, look, if I can take your $1 of profit and turn it into $2 inside the company, I'm creating way more value for you than if I just give you that $1 back. He's always thinking like an investor first.
So, as we dig into these 8 CEOs, a clear pattern starts to emerge. A kind of outsider playbook, with a set of shared traits that honestly go against almost everything you'd expect from a typical big-shot CEO.
First off, they were all incredibly frugal in their personal and corporate lives. No fancy headquarters, no lavish company jets. They were also fiercely independent and analytical thinkers. They did their own math and couldn't care less what Wall Street analysts had to say. They also ran really decentralized companies, pushing power and decision-making down the ladder. And finally, they were unbelievably patient and opportunistic. They'd make huge moves when things were cheap, and then happily do nothing for years when prices were high.
So I think the biggest lesson from the outsiders is this. It's a massive redefinition of what leadership even looks like. We have this image in our heads of the charismatic, loud, visionary leader, but this book proves that often the most effective, value-creating leaders are the quiet ones, the analytical ones, the ones with the sheer courage to stand all alone away from the crowd.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about. We live in a world that is just full of noise, endless advice, constant pressure to just follow the herd. The lesson of these outsiders has never been more relevant. So the question to ask yourself is, who are you listening to? Is it the crowd?
So friends, that was the complete breakdown. Make sure to take a screenshot of this growth gift, this infographic, so this lesson stay with you. If you want to learn from legends every single day, join our community. I am Amin. Always remember, read more, think deeper. Let me know in the comments who we should cover next. See you in next episode.